Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. My name is Joseph James. Welcome to our live stream recap. It's January 12th, 2011. Happy hump day to you. Wednesday morning, guys. Schooltrade.com, sidewaysmarkets.com. All right, let's get started. What's the most important thing that happened today? Well, we had another slow day, guys. Had another hole I had to dig out of. Another time we get our charts up, right? We do our morning routine. We get everything ready to go. And then it's, of course, right, crickets chirping. Very slow, very sluggish this morning. What did it look like? Flat dollar. Right? Dollar nice and flat. Now the dollar later on dropped this morning, but this morning at 8 o'clock Eastern time, we had ourselves flat as a board on the dollar. And what had happened was, on the dollar, we had actually broken new lows in the dollar at about 6:30 this morning, and then it came right back up into that sideways range. And what happens when we see the dollar break new lows and then they get sucked right back up in, that pretty much confirms for us that we're looking for some more direction, and that told us to be a little bit more careful today. So the dollar this morning really gave us kind of a sign of concern today when we saw that dollar break the lows, come back up into the range, and then go sideways. Now, of course, later on in the morning, dollar ended up breaking, but that didn't happen for quite some time this morning. So flat dollar until it dropped. The flat dollar said, hey, be careful this morning because we're probably going to have ourselves some pretty challenging price action. Now, a flat dollar usually turns into flat gold, flat crude, flat euro. Now, we had the gold trading in a very narrow range this morning, so we didn't get anything out of gold today. Usually, gold will at least be good for a couple $100 for us, but didn't make anything on gold today. We took a trade on gold today at 9.45. We made 10 ticks off it, but it was a very small move and didn't get much out of it. So we did make some money off today, but as you can see, gold very narrow today, guys, and we really didn't look at it very much. Just kind of sitting there in that wedge pattern. On crude, though, crude was the big mover today for us. Now, obviously, Wednesday morning, what do we have to worry about? 10:30 news on crude. Crude inventory number comes out 10:30 Wednesday mornings. What does that mean for our crude market? What it means is we have to be very careful trading crude because the personality can be very sloppy, very sluggish, right? Fake out breakouts, right? 10 ticks up, 20 ticks back down, right? It can really make us look foolish before the 10:30 news. Now that's before the news. After the news at 10:30, usually we're going to see literally those polar opposite personalities. Before 10:30, you've got a very slow and sluggish, right? Very indecisive market, which we saw this morning. But then, of course, after 10:30, usually that news number comes out and it changes the face of the market and the market starts to move. Didn't really happen that well today. I think we still were suffering from a low volume environment today based on people waiting for Thursday jobless claims, right? Friday, consumer sentiment, and on Friday we have retail sales. So I think a lot of the volume today was still sitting on hands, waiting to see what Bernanke says tomorrow, waiting to see what consumer confidence comes out for the first couple days of the year, waiting to see how the retail sales finished up for the end of 2010. There's a lot of reasons why the market was low volume this morning. This is just one of them. All right, guys. So the crude market this morning, we were focused on the crude market. It was one of the only markets moving, and of course we had 10:30 news, which we had to be aware of. Now, like I said, just like yesterday, a slow start, I obviously got myself into a bad trade and took a loss. So just like yesterday, took a first trade loss. That first trade loss means I have to now dig out of a hole. Well, one thing we learned this morning was how to use momentum, and that was the reason why I took that first trade loss. We'll take a look at that loss here in a moment for you guys. Now, the crude inventories at 10:30 came out nice and bullish. What did we see at 10:30 today? We saw inventories at 10:30, but what were they? They came out lower than expected. Now, guys, this is not going to be the guarantee, but usually when inventories come out lower than expected, it's usually because there's more demand than expected. What would happen to price if there's more demand? Price will probably rise. Now, guys, that's the typical situation. But remember, a little trick that I do, right? I'll use the durable goods earlier in the week. If durable goods are rising, that means the economy is chugging along. Then low inventories will be confirmed, price should rise. If I see durable goods falling, right? Durable goods news report comes out Monday, Tuesdays. If durable goods is falling ahead of the Wednesday news, that means that the economy is slowing down, right? Durable goods are slowing down. There'll be less demand for crude oil, right? Remember, guys, crude oil is used to not only power our vehicles, but crude oil, things like nat gas as well, they power these big plants, these big factories that build all these things that we make here in the U.S. If durable goods are falling, that means the economy is slowing down. If the economy is slowing down and I'm a producer of crude oil, what will I do? I will stop producing so much. And what will that do to the inventories? Inventories will drop. So as you can see, there are kind of two sides of this crude inventories number, right? Dropping inventory could mean excessive demand, but it could also mean lower demand, which resulted in lower production. So we use kind of this web of news events, right? Again, I like to use the durable goods orders. We'll also look at things like jobless claims and retail sales later on in the week to be able to give ourselves an idea if the economy is chugging along. And if it is, lower inventories will be a great buying opportunity on crude. So we saw lower than expected. We saw really low inventories this morning, which made for an easy trading opportunity on crude. Now, the choppy dollar was kind of the story of the day. All right, what happened today, guys? Dollar going sideways, then began to drop. Well, when the dollar dropped this morning, guys, right, it was very indecisive. And when I say indecisive, what I mean is we saw 10 ticks down and then 12 ticks back up, right? It's always kind of funny because I equate it to, right, jumping into a pool that's filled with cold water, right? That's kind of what the dollar looked like today. It was a bunch of traders standing around the water going, no, please, you go first. Oh, no, I insist, you go first, right? In other words, nobody had the confidence to jump in first. And what happens when you have a choppy, right, sloppy dollar is the rest of the markets get choppy. For example, right, the dollar drops, we should see gold rise, right? Well, if you wait for the dollar to drop, then get long the gold, in a choppy dollar environment, the dollar will drop 10 ticks just to get right back up 10 ticks, which means if you buy the gold, you're on the wrong side of the market. Gold's coming back down. So that's why a choppy dollar, right, a dollar that is indecisive, nobody knew what direction it wanted to go today, it just kept chugging along, right, tick by tick down the chart, right? 5 or 6 ticks down, 7 or 8 ticks back up. All right, guys, keep an eye on that for the future. Now, a Wednesday morning, this is kind of typical for a Wednesday morning. Wednesday mornings, I swear, that crude number just throws a whole wrench in the plan, guys. So be aware of this on Wednesday mornings. All right, let's take a look at some of the trades we took today here. 2, 4, 6, 7 total trades. Once again, as you can see, 857 get a scratch, +5, -5. 915, right? Now again, 915, this is after an hour of sitting here waiting. Usually we're going to get a lot more opportunities before 9 o'clock. Today, didn't see that though. So we continue to see that low volume, right? A lot of it, I think, is people waiting for Thursday and Friday's news events. Traders coming back from vacation, getting acquainted with the market. Remember, guys, this is the first month of the new year, which means most professional traders are getting acquainted with this new personality of the market, right? A lot can happen between December 15th and January 10th. All right, guys, so 7 total trades. You can see 80 ticks in today. That brings our weekly total here to 3570, so 357 ticks on the week so far. And of course, if you've been with us in the room, you've watched as we called all of these trades live, right? We've shown you guys exactly where to get in, where to get out, right? And of course, our members are trained on all of this. I'd encourage you guys, come out as a guest, right? We have a free trial. Come out and join us in our trade room tomorrow morning at 7:45. So 7 trades, 80 ticks, 800 USD, guys. We're having a great month so far of January, and again you can see here we had a pretty good day. Now on the dollar, right, back to our dollar now, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Now the dollar has 2 important things here that I want to keep in mind. First of all, there's my sideways range. Now a sideways range on the dollar is pretty common, right? That's been pretty common this week, and we know when the dollar goes sideways, everything else is probably going to go sideways. But now look what we saw right here. And this is what really gave us the heads up that we might want to be extra careful today. Now, whenever we see price do this, right, we see price going sideways, and then all of a sudden price drops out of the sideways range, obviously looking for sellers, couldn't find any sellers, and it comes right back up into the range and then goes sideways again.